Just explained why I was up to, right before I changed to a low carb diet, I was up to drinking 16 cans of Coca-Cola a day. I was eating whole boxes of snack cakes, Little Debbie snack cakes. I was going to fast food, junk food. Like, you're right. Like, I never thought about it being this progressively more and more and more, because you needed that more to get the same hit.
Yeah, exactly like alcohol, exactly the same process.
Wow. When I found out the same part of your brain that gets excited about drugs and alcohol gets excited by sugar, that was when it all became clear. Why isn't this more well known? Like, if this is so known, why are doctors still pushing, well, you should cut your fat and cut your calories, when that's the antithesis of what they should be doing?
I don't like to kind of be a conspiracy theorist. The more you're in this field, the more you can.
Yes.
Obviously, the food industry doesn't want this information as general information, and they fund a lot of research. That's another podcast, isn't it?
Another topic for another day, as we say.
Another day, yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Jen Unwin here today has a book called Fork in the Road, forkintheroad.com.uk, or is it just .com?
The website's forkintheroad.co.uk, and the book is Fork in the Road, out now on Amazon. And today, I just checked, we're number 2 on Kindle in nutrition.
Wow, that's a big deal. I don't think I've hit a book in number 2 in nutrition. Wow, good job. Really excited about this topic because everybody seems to be addicted to the carbs, and no matter how much they try, they can't even imagine. Like right now, I'm currently in the midst of a very long fast. I just started day number 10 of just no food, no nothing. And if you ever want to test like real hunger, kind of what do I really crave? What do I really want? Go on a long fast. Obviously, after you're well keto adapted and you're kind of soaring, push the boundary of your body to see how well you do. You'll be surprised how little of those signals that our brains get that we're wanting carbs or any food that's junk at all goes away. Have you done any of looking at fasting as a method of breaking people of this addiction?
You have to be really quite cautious, actually. We're really quite cautious with fasting with people with food and sugar addiction. They're definitely right. They need to, step 1 is abstinence and getting in a real steady rhythm with that.
Yes.
If they get over hungry, you know,
yes.
Really get your clean keto, low carb nailed down, get in a steady thing where you've got no cravings. And then obviously people, exactly as you say, people are then aware, they tend to be less hungry, they're less cravey. So lots of people tend to then naturally drift into 2 meals a day. Or,
yes.
On the whole, I do 1 meal a day. I do some additional, like I'm just on day 2 now, probably going to go to day 5. But on the whole, we don't, certainly not for newbies.
No.
With maybe later on, and then with caution. You know, eating windows.
Yes.
That's all good if people can do it comfortably, which they usually can once they've got in the swing.
Yeah, when you get those addictions under control, it's almost a default. You just kind of accidentally do. I remember when I went keto, like full-on keto and testing blood ketones circa 2012, I forgot to eat. I think for the first time in my life for a whole day, I was like, wait a minute, what? I forgot to eat. I forgot to eat. Yeah. Like, this is the guy that drank 16 cans of Coca-Cola and never went more than like 10, 15 minutes without putting something in my mouth.
Yeah, I didn't know it was humanly possible not to eat for more than 2 hours until I went low carb, yeah.
Yes. Ada is a health coach and helps clients all the time. What you got for us, sweetie?
Yeah, just wanted to share what I do with my clients to help them with their addiction. And in the Latin community, that's pretty common. 8 times out of 10, that's what I hear. I'm addicted to sugar. I can't quit sweets. I cannot quit sweets. It's like the number 1 thing that I hear all the time. The way that I do it is I cut 1 sugary source a week, knowing that glucose is not just sweets, of course, you know, it's all carbohydrates turned into glucose. So, but the first thing that I eliminate in my program is sugary beverages. That is the first thing that goes. Half of the people go like, oh, that's going to be easy for me. Yes, until we start. Because then they don't realize that orange juice that's organic and came down from heaven is still sugar, right?
Yes.
And then they're like, okay, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be. So, and then of course, the sugar in the coffee, they cannot see themselves having black coffee. At the end of the program, everybody's drinking black coffee and they go like, what? How did this happen? But yeah, the little things like that. So I eliminate all sugary beverages that entire week, the first week. That's the first thing we do. I highly encourage no sweeteners, because again, just like Dr. Unwin said, I'm not just trying to decrease that dependence of blood glucose, but also that dependence of that hits the dopamine, the reward center of the brain, right? So tackling from both angles. And then the second week, what I do is I eliminate all processed foods. So if it comes in a bag, in a box, in a can, and it has more than 3 ingredients, it's an out. Unless, of course, tuna is a processed food. It comes in a can, but that's real food, right? So common sense here. Then week 3 is when things get really interesting for us Spanish people, because we're all about the bread and the rice and the potatoes and the yuca and all of those root vegetables, right? So that's the 13 that goes out from the plan. And then the 4th week, I eliminate fruits. And so by week 5, we have pretty much eliminated all sources of glucose in the system. And I find that has worked really, really well for my audience and my target clients.
Nice. Jen, you like all that?
I'm loving that. Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. I like that how you kind of do it in a stepwise way and people understand the way that you're going, but you're not kind of leaping straight in. I personally did go cold turkey right at the beginning, but it's pretty harsh, isn't it? And it's nice to do it in that kind of stepwise way, particularly if people are having a lot of wheat drinks and beverages, because it's an absolute load of sugar, when you start to work it out. That's brilliant. I love that.
Well, and the tough ones are where they're supposedly healthy, things like the fruit juices, like orange juice. Oh, well, it's orange juice. It's got to be healthy, right, Ada? And so they try to compromise with you. Well, surely that's healthy.
Absolutely. But you can't, the numbers don't lie, check your blood glucose.
Yes. This is why I think testing blood sugar, Jen, should be like always the parameter of any food you consume.
Yeah, people learn such a lot. I mean, David's often giving people the Freestyle Libre for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Just to look at, and they're amazed. There's a fabulous fact that you'll know, Jimmy, isn't it? Which is how much sugar is actually in a healthy bloodstream at any one time.
Yes.
It's just about a teaspoon.
1 teaspoon, guys. One teaspoon.
So, and if you want to see how much sugar is in everyday foods, if you look on the Public Health Collaboration website or you Google Unwin sugar infographics, David's done a load of these, and you'll see that a banana has 6 teaspoons. So when somebody tells you that a banana is a good snack, you can say, well, you could have a sixth of a banana will be all the sugar you need. And as we all know anyway, your body makes, I never eat any sugar, and so my body just makes happily my liver's chugging along making the sugar that my brain needs, or the small amount it needs. So I think things like facts like that, bits of information, I think can really stick with people and really make the point that the amount of sugar and carbohydrate in the modern diet, that's not normal. Someone was saying to me the other day, she's trying to do low carb, and she said everyone else is saying to her that what she's doing isn't normal. So I kind of talked about all that. We said, actually, what everybody's doing isn't normal. Yes.
Yeah, we're the normal ones. They're the abnormal ones having all that load.
We're eating the proper human diet.
Yes. So Jen mentioned Freestyle Libre. So those of you in the audience that don't know what that is, go look it up. It is called a CGM, continuous glucose monitor. You pop it on the back of your arm. Some people put it on their stomach or their leg. But basically what it does is it gives you an on-demand your blood sugar. Any given moment, you can have a little iPhone app. You can just wave it over it. And then I've done many of them, Jen, over the years, doing all kinds of tests. Used to back in the day before CGMs were in America, I was pricking my finger and I was running out of fingers to prick anymore because it was bad. But thank you, Ada. Ada, you had one more thing?
I just wanted to give kudos to Dr. Jen and her husband for the infographics. I use them all the time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So Cognitus says, what are your thoughts about raw honey? Well, I'll say real quick before Jen gives her answer. It's still sugar. Like, it's just another form of sugar. And again, it's one of those things like the orange juice, Jen. They hear honey. Well, it's from a bee. It's natural. It's a real food, which is all those things are true. But you still can't run away from the metabolic consequences of that sugar.
Your liver doesn't know if it was orange juice, sugar, or sugar out of the bowl on the table. It's just, the body just treats it glucose and fructose. It's usually a mixture of the two, isn't it? Like table sugar is a mixture of the two, but yeah, it just has the same effect.
Next up we have Dax. He's into kind of the mindset and kind of changing your thinking about things. What's up, Dax?
Hey, good morning, Jimmy.
Hey, bud.
Dr. Jen, great to be here.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, I'm just out here at the track doing sprints and running stairs, getting my dopamine hit for the day, and just was going to give some anecdotal experience about getting rid of sugar.
Yeah.
I cut out all sugar completely. I cut my carbs down to 20% of my normal intake. And then I also doubled up when I started that week for the fast. I doubled up on my GTF chromium, and I added some Gymnema sylvestre, which is a natural carb reduction. Your desire for carbs goes down with that. And then I did the 7-day water fast, and coming out of that, I did the reverse order of everything. I kept the chromium going and just reintroducing about 20% of my normal carbs, which is not very much, but it absolutely makes a difference. Just eliminating sugar, just that one thing, sugar. If you get rid of, even if you're eating other carbs, just getting rid of sugar will change your mood. It will change your outlook on life. It will improve your interpersonal relationships. Sugar is not your friend. And I love sugar. I used to have a 6-pack of Pepsi, a couple candy bars, maybe some ice cream at night, every day. I know the addiction. I know how it feels, and I know how it feels coming off of it. Yeah, Dr. Jen, you're doing a great job. Appreciate the great input. Jimmy, you have great guests on here.
Thank you, sir. Jen?
Yeah, it's not easy, is it? But it's worth it. I think that's what you're saying, Dax, is it can be done if you can just push through. People are amazed. I mean, we've had patients so amazed at literally the clarity, talking about keto clarity, the clarity of the mind, how much better the mood is, how much more stable the mood is, how much more energy throughout the day. Sugar is bad for your physical health, but it's bad for your mental health as well.
Well, the problem is they sneak it into even so-called keto foods. I remember somebody wrote me the other day that they said, I got a spike in my blood sugar having a rotisserie chicken. And I'm like, how in the world? And I said, go get do you still have the ingredients list? Yes. It should just say chicken and maybe some other things. And they had infused it with sugar. And I'm going, what in the hell?
I know. You have to read every single label. I mean, I try not to buy things with labels on now. I think that's just easier. But yeah, label coleslaw. You'd have that in the States, don't you?
Yes.
It's supposed to be cabbage, carrot and a bit of mayo. And it's just, if you buy it from the store, it's just full of rubbish. It's got sugar in it.
Yes, chicken salad, same way.
Make your own mayo. It's not difficult. You can do it in like 30 seconds.
Yes.
We just eat. I mean, it's basically more or less kind of meat and veg in various combos really now.
Yes. So next up we have a medical doctor. What's up, Dr. Nick?
Hi, Jen. I know we corresponded on Twitter and elsewhere. I'm a cold turkey person. I think first step is to recognize that it is an addiction. I know there's controversy over whether or not, you can really be addicted to, sugar based on brain scan studies. The answer is 110% yes. In fact, there's some really interesting research. It was done, I think, 2008 over at Harvard, where they looked at people's desire centers, the nucleus accumbens, in the center of the brain, just manipulating the sugariness of the food. So even keeping the carbohydrate content the same, the proteins and the fats, but making the glycemic index higher, people couldn't tell the difference, but their wanting centers just lit up like they had cocaine or sex or something. I think the first step is recognize it isn't addiction, and then how would you deal with any other addiction, alcoholism, smoking? Just commit to maybe a period of it being a little bit tough, but know that the grass is going to be greener on the other side, because it's not going to be easy like Dak said. But like Jen said, it's 110% worth it for your health and for your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I say, I was a cold turkey person as well. So, sometimes people do that. Just a few little cautions. If you're on medication for anything really, blood pressure or diabetes, particularly, there's a group of medications called the SGLT2 inhibitors. You shouldn't just go cold turkey, low carb. There are some risks there. And if you're on blood pressure medication, tell your doctor before you get started, because you're probably going to have to reduce it, because the effects of giving up sugar are so marked that your blood pressure can kind of lower. And as I say, if you're on these SGLT2 inhibitors, that can cause actually a serious problem. So you need to be careful there before making any drastic changes in your diet. There's a really good paper on de-prescribing medication for people going low carb. I don't know if you've seen it, Jimmy, but it's David's one of the authors, and a guy in the UK called Dr. Campbell Murdoch. And I think it's in the BMJ. So if you Google Murdoch Unwin de-prescribing,
it'll come up.
Diabetes, low carb, you'd probably see the paper. But yeah, it's just a little warning for people. I wouldn't want anyone in the audience to start tomorrow if they're on certain kinds of medications and then come back and.
So that's a really interesting thing that Nick brings up, because I think the taste of sweet has a far more addictive property than what he was saying, the same kind of carbohydrate content, but not sweet. This is why I think people like Dr. Robert Lustig were like, sugar is the issue, and maybe white potatoes and white rice may not be as bad because the addictive properties, you're not getting that immediate feedback on the taste receptors of telling your brain you're eating something sweet when you're having something starchy. Now, that's not to say some people can still not have a problem with the starches. You will, some people, but not everyone. This is why I think paleo was so popular, because they tended to take away all those sweet parts and left some of the real food carbohydrates. It's a fascinating conversation. Dr. Nick?
I like to differentiate between true hunger, hunger for your nourishment, and then hormonal hunger. So what happens when you have sugar or high glycemic carbs is your blood sugar spikes and your insulin spikes with it. And then what happens is they both drop. And they